Welcome to Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing. We're Sophia, Michelle, your favorite or soon-to-be favorite ADHD-ridden masc sisters.
Expect deep combos, random tangents, and the occasional existential crisis. Or maybe we'll just talk about snacks.
Either way, we're here, we're talking, and you're stuck with us. So let's get into it. This episode gets real. We dive into grief, anxiety, depression, trauma, and death, with mentions of self-harm and heavy personal experiences. Please listen with care and take breaks if you need to. Everything we share comes from our own lives and perspectives.
This isn't medical advice, just our stories. If you're going through it right now, we hope you feel a little less alone. And if you need support, please reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or a professional. You deserve care.
Hey guys, so this episode we are going to be talking about mental health.
Yeah.
So not just in the scope of our ADHD, but we're going to be diving into a little bit more. So trigger warning, PSA, we're going to be talking about anxiety, depression, PTSD, grief, specifics to our experiences. Also, don't take anything that we're saying as medical advice. We're not doctors. Do as you need to for yourself. But let's jump into it.
For me, I've struggled more recently with anxiety. And I guess recently is probably not even the right word. I guess one of the things that pops up into my head as most prevalent, I guess, is from driving. So me and my wife were in a pretty bad car accident in 2017. Someone T-boned us. They passed a stop sign and T-boned us on my wife's side. And they had to use the jaws of life to get her out. And
scary.
I hit my head really hard and I was bleeding and I was unconscious. And actually my wife thought I was dead for a few seconds. It was a bad accident. And so
my sister-in-law broke both of her arms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Broke her arms. It was a rough time. I broke something in my knee and I had a big gash.
Didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't even realize it. It was pretty traumatic for me and for Britt too. But now when I'm in a situation where there's a lot of merging,
or turning left,
I don't trust the person's going to stop. Like my instinct is, this person's not going to stop. This person's going to run into me. And I have this anxiety. Something that's not directly associated with the accident, but like now being up high on a bridge, like gives me anxiety. To the point where like, if I can, I'll avoid going on high overpasses. If I can. I mean, I won't go out of my way, but like, if I can avoid it, I will. One thing that I do is when I'm having anxiety, I make noises.
Oh, that you're gonna do. I'm scared.
So I will do that too. It depends on who I'm with. Like if I'm with you, I'll definitely do that. If I'm with like my wife or other people, I'll be like, and it just kind of like directs my attention to something else, and then I let it pass.
So you just stem your way through it.
Yeah, basically. And I don't know. I kind of thought I'd be over it by now.
Trauma doesn't go away.
It's been 8 years, so.
Like, in the grand scheme of life, Michelle, that's actually recent.
I mean, is it?
Yes. In accordance to your lifetime. You're still holding on to trauma from when you were a child, Michelle.
I do. I still have a lot of trauma from when I was a child. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, it doesn't stop me from driving. It just, I don't know.
I mean, I guess the same thing as, like, mom stopped driving on the highway and would only take
back roads.
That's why whenever I moved to Walnut Hill, she's like, you have to live somewhere where I can get to you by streets. And she didn't even like when I lived on Walnut Hill because she said that when there was all green lights down Mockingbird, she's like, I felt like I was on the highway. I was like, who gets mad at green lights?
That's weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew the highway thing. I didn't know the green lights on Mockingbird thing.
Yeah. She's like, too many green lights makes it feel like a highway. I was like, that's ridiculous. What? You just pull over, Mom. I don't know what to tell you. I can't afford the M streets.
Ridiculous. So that's one that I deal with like quite often. But I do notice though, if I'm by myself, it's definitely a lot less anxiety.
I feel that.
It's a lot less anxiety. And I think it's because of how bad my wife was hurt in the accident. Even though the accident was 100% not her fault, but like, I was driving and I just felt responsible for her. I mean, also because she's my wife and I felt responsible for her. But so that's something that I deal with quite often. But I just stem my way through it. One time though, and I know that she brought it up, is when she was driving, I thought an 18-wheeler was going to hit us. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to die. And then I was like, I don't think we're actually going to die, but I just had to say it, get it out of me, and then I was okay.
That's usually what you do though. Like you're just like, you say it and you feel better. Mm-hmm. Which I don't understand that. I just think I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna make it feel worse. But I get that with the drive. In general, not that I've ever. Well, I mean, I've been in several car accidents. One where like I dislocated like disc in my neck. I had to wear a neck brace, but I was a passenger. But I have been in car accidents where I've been in the driver. Anyways, but I do have lots of anxiety when someone else is in the car with me versus when I'm by myself. Like I feel like I can do anything when I'm driving by myself. But as soon as even my wife, people who I'm not comfortable with, coworkers who want to drive with me for some reason to an event, I'm like, why? Yes, I'll take you because I feel bad, but my anxiety. Or if someone's following me, don't like it.
Oh yeah,
I don't even like, and not like because I'm uncomfortable with my father-in-law because I love him to death, but like I feel pressure that I need to, because I'm driving his daughter places sometimes, and he needs to know that I'm not a bad driver.
If you're in the car, or if he's following you,
both. If he's in the car with me and I'm driving, or if he's following me,
I think I feel more pressure when people are following me.
I feel as equal pressure. Equally pressured.
But I feel like you have a lot more anxiety in general.
Yeah,
like you have a lot more problems than I do.
I think I'm insulted.
I mean, you just have...
Because you were trying to find a nice way to say I saw it in your face.
I mean, you just have a lot more going on, which is okay.
It is. It is fine.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I got a lot of problems too. I'm just saying.
Yours are just more apparent, Sophia.
Yours is just like more everyday.
I mean, to be honest.
I feel like your anxiety is like an everyday occurrence.
Oh, yeah. You don't live with anxiety every single day?
No.
I do. I wake up and feel anxious. I'm anxious right now. For a number of things.
Yeah, I feel like your day is filled with anxiety. And I'm not saying like I don't get anxiety, because I definitely do. But you are like filled with anxiety.
100%. I'm pretty sure I'm anxious all day long. It's just varying levels of anxious.
Mm-hmm. And you're just so used to it.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, do you take medicine for it now? Or... prior?
No. What really helped? Okay, so like there was a time when I was taking medicine for anxiety, but after that time, after those moments in my life, I was scared to take anything, and not scared. Scared isn't the right word, but like I just didn't. Well, now we have to talk about it because they're gonna be looking at us like, what?
Okay, so let's take like 4 steps back. Okay, so you're gonna see where this is gonna come together. I promise.
Me or them?
You too, because I feel like you're confused also. So I've had throughout my life and our life, when you have a big family, you lose a lot of family members to them passing away. So that's why we're taking 4 steps back. Okay, it's a journey.
It's a process.
So I've had a lot of problems processing grief since I was a small child. So like one of my cousins that I was really close to passed away when I was 5 years old. And I've had trouble processing grief since then, just because no one taught me how. And my mother was also grieving my cousin's death. And so she was in her own little world, which as an adult, I understand that just because you have people that you're responsible for, it doesn't mean that you don't go through things. And so I understand that. But also, she didn't help me process my grief correctly. And so I didn't process it correctly. Like, I couldn't sleep, and
Is that when your fear of death came?
1,000%. I was scared. I mean, I still have that fear of death, but whenever I was that little, it was very prominent. I have a hard time processing grief, and I have seen a therapist about processing grief in different various stages of my life. I've even, as my school counselor, whenever my cousin passed away when I was 5 years old, a school counselor when I was in the 7th or 8th grade was like, we need to talk about this. Like, you need to process this. You need to process this. And so, like, she legit started a grief group therapy.
Did mom know this?
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I definitely didn't. I mean, I was also...
And I remember... And I felt kind of bad because, like, some of the people were in there, like, their dad had just died. Like, I remember one guy... Like, I knew him. We weren't, like, friends, but, like, I knew him. He was in enough of my classes for me, like, oh, I know your name. I know your face. His dad had just died, and I didn't even know that. And so, like, he's processing his dad dying, like, 3 months ago, and I'm processing my cousin passing away, like, 10 years ago. I don't know how old I was in 7th grade. I'm processing this so much later, and I felt bad for that. Like, I felt... Ashamed isn't the right word, but I felt awkward about it. So I've had a hard time processing grief. Our mom passed away in 2013. Very suddenly. Very, very out of the blue. Very, very unexpected. One day she was okay, and the next day she was not. Our life turned upside down. Literally. I mean, I know yours life is different, but for me, my life is literally unrecognizable from then. Like, it's... very different. And then 3 months later, our grandmother, who raised us but very much raised my sister, passed away. that so much wasn't sudden, but it was sudden because it was so close to my mom's death. And
also unexpected. It's not like she was like...
Well, it was
she wasn't like in like great... Like I wouldn't
was
say
90 years old.
Yeah, she was 90 years old, but also like she wasn't at the moment sick or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, 90 years old. Like, so it wasn't sudden. Like, no one was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But also, like...
There was no signs of her passing that quickly. I think also, because her and my mother were very close, I think, that had something to do with it. But we had, and Sophia and my dad had moved into my grandmother's house just because we weren't coping well, I guess. I don't know what the right...
My mom was taking care of my grandma. So she would go, like, every day and, like, take her go to the store for her, spend time with her, X, Y, and Z.
Take her to the doctor.
Take her to doctors, things like that. My dad no longer wanted to live in his house where he lived with my mom. So he moved into my apartment. But that definitely was not enough room for me and my father because I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. So I had just moved in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we broke my lease. My grandma was like, will you stay here? And so we're like, yeah. So all three of us moved in.
Mm-hmm. And then, she passed away. And, we weren't... I can say I wasn't dealing with my grief all that well. And you definitely weren't dealing with you. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
So when my mom died... So backspace. So, like, me and my mom weren't, like, super close when I was younger. We bumped heads a lot. I moved away. I moved back. And when I moved away, actually, in general, we got a lot closer. Like, we just enjoyed each other's time more. And then when I moved back home, I was worried our relationship was going to go back to, like, us bumping heads a lot. And it didn't. Like, we were actually very close. Like, she was probably one of my best friends.
But when you say move back home, you don't mean move back into
not
home.
into her house. Mm-hmm. Like, I moved to Austin, and then I moved back to Dallas a year and a half later. Anyways, so we spent a lot of time. Literally, like, all my days off, I was with her. We were running errands, happy houring, we did all the things. And so the day that she went to the hospital, we were supposed to hang out. I woke up because I had like 20 missed calls from her best friend and my dad, just that like my mom wasn't feeling good and like I needed to hurry up and like come because like something was wrong, essentially. At first I didn't think it was like that big of a deal, and then her best friend called me again and was like, we called the ambulance, like something's really wrong, you need to get here fast. And so that's when I was like, oh no. And so I literally like jumped in my car and I was like speeding down to her house, or to my grandma's, because that's where she was. And on my way I called my sister and I told her what was going on. I'm assuming you knew whenever you talked to me that I was scared. And so I get to my grandma's house and the paramedics are walking out with her on a stretcher, and literally I just like get out of my car. I don't even think I like actually parked. Like, I'm pretty sure my aunt had to get into my car and park it because I was trying to hurry up and get into the ambulance with her. So I jumped in the ambulance with her. They would take us to the hospital. She's like not there, like I from the night before was the last time I actually saw my mom. Because the next day, when I saw her, she wasn't her anymore. I get to the hospital. I'm in the emergency room. I'm also having an anxiety attack. And then in comes my sister. Like, she was at work in Arlington, mind you. And she made it there. By the time I got to my grandma's house, I went to the ambulance and then got there. She was walking into the emergency room. I literally sat down and there she was.
I even stopped to put gas in.
That's crazy. I don't know how you do things like that.
I was fine. And this is not something that, like, I love my mom. I love my mom to death. I love my parents to death. But me and my sister have this bond in this relationship where at that moment I was trying to get to my sister. And I parked my car and I was like, I have no idea where she's at. Like, literally no clue where she's at in this hospital. And I was like, I can just find her. I know I will. I know I'll find her.
I swear she has a tracking device on me.
And I did. I found her. And I'm fixing to hijack your story for a second. I was very convinced that everything was going to be fine. That something was wrong. Something happened. My mom was sick, but she was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I asked the nurse. And I felt silly asking it because my mom was kind of a hypochondriac. Not in this situation, and not for her ever. For her, nothing was wrong with her.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever wrong with her, even though there's things wrong with her. But for us, like, the sky was falling. I remember one time I had a problem. I dislocated my knee and we couldn't figure out what was going on. And she was convinced that I had bone cancer. And so she asked my doctor if I had bone cancer. Anyway, so all that to say is that I felt silly saying, hey, is my mom going to be okay? Because I thought, yeah, she's been fine. Like, why are you so worried? Like, I was expecting that type of response. But then the nurse was like, I don't know. And then that was when it was like, okay, now I'm scared. Like, I'm scared now.
In general, I'm just a worrier person. So I was scared the whole time. Once we got out of the emergency room and we were in the ICU is the point where I was like, this seems a little too serious, for lack of a better word. But anyway, so, my mom dies. A couple days later, it wasn't that long. Everyone in the world was in this waiting room for my mom. But she dies. And then something happened. I broke that first night. Like, I don't really remember after she, like, actually passed. I know they took me to the emergency room to give me something because I was, like, broken.
Almost comatose. Almost not responsive. She didn't want to leave Mom.
So they took me in the emergency room, they gave me something. They pulled me out in a wheelchair. From the moment after that, I just kind of pushed everything down and was like, no, thank you. I just made myself do things. I did funeral things, was trying to make myself busy. I just didn't want to deal with it. From my mom dying for a long time, I did not cry. I just didn't. I just didn't deal with it. And that broke me more. You know, I had stuff before my mom died, and then my mom died, and then that just kind of like, that was just like the tipping point for me. After my mom died, I took some time off of work because I wasn't well mentally. I went to therapy. I was in like a day group trying to deal with my grief. And then that just kind of like, you know, in general, that was helping me with other things that I've never dealt with because I'd rather not. And then my grandma died whilst I was trying to put myself back together, and then I fell back apart. I was like, no, let me just eat. When my grandma died, I had come home from day group. I was in my room upstairs, and I had just so happened, because when I got home, she was taking a nap. I just happened to go downstairs because I didn't have any more snacks in my room, because I lived like in a loft area upstairs. So I had like a table and like a stuff there for me. And so then I went downstairs to get something, and I heard my grandma like coughing, but like not just like a normal cough, like it sounded like she was like dying. And so I go in and I'm like, what's going on? You know, like I'm giving her water, and she's just like literally had not stopped coughing for the like 5 minutes I had been down there at that point. She couldn't like catch her breath, and I was getting scared, and I was like, and at this point too, like I'm also like medicated, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so I called my aunt, and she's like, call 911. And I told my grandma, I'm calling 911. And she's like, don't call 911 in between her coughs. And I was like, Grandma, I'm calling 911. And so I call 911, and they come, and the paramedic, he's like, I think I've been here before. And I was like, sir. He's like, did someone need an ambulance recently? And I was like, well, that was my mom. And he's like, oh yes. He's like, how is she? And I was like, she died. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Quite awkward. But I had to convince my grandma to go to the hospital. And again, somehow I'm now in an ambulance, going to the same hospital 3 months from my mom died, to the same hospital, to the same floor, in the same waiting room. And I'm like, what's happening? I need someone. I need an adult. I can't do it. And again, my sister showed up with my aunt. Well, I don't think they were together, but like at the same time as my aunt. And I was like, help. I don't want to do this again. They took her to the same ICU room. We were in the same waiting room. My grandma dies. So that broke me even more. I don't know. I didn't think I could break more from my mom dying, but then there that was. And then we had to move. And, you know, it was just a lot. At some point, I got into a relationship because that's just what I did. I went back to work, still trying to figure out getting my life together. Me and this relationship end. Something happens, and I can't even tell you, like, what was this that happened. I started having, like, these episodes, for lack of a better word. Do you remember what Felicia called them?
Fugue. Like a fugue state.
Where I would just lose time.
She even drove to my house. In another city. I mean, like, not that far, but not that close.
Yeah, I would like black out. What my therapist said was that, like, my brain was trying to protect me, and so, like, it would just turn off. There was a disconnect. So I would do things, I would talk, I would drive, and then I would come to, and I'd be like, hey, what am I doing here? How did I get here? And so then I went back off of work because I was obviously losing my mind. Then they put me into a more intense day group. Because, you know, I don't think it's good to not know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Things got scary. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty broken. I was also very heavily medicated at one point.
Very medicated.
Like zombie. Can't keep my eyes open. Kind of medicated. Like literally, like I had boxes, like bags and bags of like bottles of pills of anything and everything.
And her doctor would like, I didn't like your psychiatrist.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would like just switch them really quickly. Like, I don't think he gave him enough time to work. He was just constantly switching them.
Yeah. Like every week it was different.
Like, that's not
Which is why I had so many. And I was taking like so many. I was taking stuff for anxiety. I was taking stuff for depression. I was taking stuff to help me sleep. Literally, like, because I was, like I said, like I lived like in the loft of my grandma's house. And so like I'd have to put barriers because there was no like door to the stairs. I would have to put like stuff in front of the stairs because he's like, you could possibly sleepwalk. And I was like, well, I might kill myself. So it was just a really rough time for me. Like I really thought I hit rock bottom, and then I went further. Like, I just didn't deal with a lot of things. And I did a lot of therapy. I stopped being on so much medicine because I didn't like the way it made me feel, which is, again, why I was, and scared isn't the right word, but like, I didn't, for a very long time, I did not want to take anything because I didn't like the way I felt like I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Like, at some points in time, she was like a child where I would have to like lead her places, like direct her. For instance, my wife's mother passed away about a year after my mom passed away. And I took her with me to my wife's hometown. I was like, okay, Sophia, like, sit right here. Like, stay here. I gotta go take care of things. It was just me and her, she was okay. But it was anytime we added people, it made things, she felt more awkward. And so I had to like direct her a lot.
And it didn't help that at that time, my security blanket was a Ninja Turtle backpack. Not just like a Ninja Turtle theme. It was a turtle shell backpack. But that was my security blanket for a very long time. It just made me feel safer. So I looked like I didn't have a lot of mental capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, but I noticed how people saw me because that's how I was acting. I thought at some point that I would remember what I was doing at these things, but nothing. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about it. Felicia said at some point that was probably best. But it was hard, like I was diagnosed with lots of things. So like depression, obviously. They said you have a heavy set of anxiety. And I said, I know. PTSD and grief-driven generalized anxiety is what she called it, on top of the regular generalized anxiety. I was like, how much generalized anxiety can I have? But literally, like, a list of things is wrong mentally. Am I better? No. Am I better? I'm sorry. Am I completely non-mentally ill? No.
Sure.
But am I better? Yes.
Much better. It was scary. So, like, not to take from your experience, but, like, for me, it was horrible. Like, I know it was horrible for you because you're going through it, but like, for me as somebody who loves you so much and is used to like fixing you, for lack of a better word, like helping you and fixing your problems, it was horrible because not only was I going through my grief of losing my mother suddenly and like what that meant for me, and then I was married to somebody else at that point than who, my wife now, and that marriage like just somehow my mother's death was the straw on the camel's back for that marriage. And so that marriage was ending. Then my grandmother died, who raised me. Like, we sold my grandmother's house, which was
devastating to me.
Devastating. It was devastating. We grew up in that house. And a lot of our cousins did, but like, we were like the last ones to like live there. We lived there as children, and then I lived there when I was in college for a little bit, and then we moved in there right after my mom passed away. Well, that was devastating. And then now my sister is going through this hardship, and I'm going through this grief, and I don't know how to process my grief, and I don't know how to help my sister. And then my wife's mother, we were dating at the time, and my wife's mother is sick, and so I'm trying to help my wife process that stuff, but was not doing a good job. I did not do a good job helping my wife process her stuff. There was just so much happening. There was just so much going on. It was hard. I didn't seek help. I should have at that point in time, but I didn't. I worked. I spent time with my wife and spent time with you and tried to help you as much as I could, but I don't think I did a good job of helping you either.
You did. You and Britt did a lot. Like, there'd be times where, like, I would go to their house, to their apartment, just sleep in bed with them. Because I was just so broken. Like, I don't know. Like, and sometimes a lot of the times I feel bad because I feel like you didn't have a chance to, like, grieve the way that you needed to at that point because you were so worried about me, and then, Britt's mom passed, and you were worried about Mom Britt. And I do feel bad because I was so broken. And honestly, I probably, if I wasn't made, especially that second time, they basically forced me to go to the like intense in-person therapy, all day therapy, like literally like from 8 to 5. I was in therapy, in the therapy group of people, but I wouldn't have gone again. I wouldn't have done it again. I was scared. Honestly, I was scared I was gonna die. Almost did.
Yep.
Which is why they forced me. But then the day after, we went to a Rangers game. Sometimes I see the pictures and I'm like, that's a weird time. That was a weird time for me. But yeah, I was really broken. And in a really dark, bad place. It was hard.
Our ADHD said cliffhanger, and honestly same. We're splitting this one so you can take a break, text your group chat, grab a snack, whatever you need. Part 2 comes out next week. We'll be putting resources down below just in case you need any of them. Take care of your brain. See you in part 2.
And somehow we've reached the end of another episode of Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing.
If you had fun, hit that follow button, leave a review, and follow us on TikTok and Insta. But if you got distracted halfway through, no worries. Same.
We'll be back next time with more thoughts, more distractions, and probably actually no real conclusions. But thanks so much, guys, and see you later.